Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Muta. My name is Lolo Cynthia. Many people agree to have raped and have raped if you don't use the word rape to describe that experience. So what is it about labels that push people away? Many feel that rape is filled with a cluster of association that does not necessarily reflect what they've been through. There's a cultural narrative that tends to present rape as this sudden violent act initiated by a stranger hiding in the bushes. Hence, people have a specific definition of what rape is and have a difficult time coming to terms with what had happened to them because it doesn't fall under the strict definition of rape. And even though they do not necessarily classify it as rape, they have feelings that are associated with people who have been assaulted. Because the idea is that one who rapes is probably a sociopath, but in actual sense, they're just regular people. The word rape feels very loaded and specific. It tells a story. It can be challenging when chatting with someone who hasn't labeled that experience as such, because you're labeling an experience for someone that can be very traumatic in a way that they do not label it. But that being said, sexual violence takes a multitude of forms, and it's up to the individual to decide what to call their experience. Another problem with the label rape is that it pushes a narrative that rape is that thing that destroyed a woman's life. But in actual sense, for some people, rape isn't felt as devastating and life-shattering. But many people, in our bid to gain justice, which is understandably so, we insist on pushing a narrative that the woman sees the crime as the ultimate loss and devastation. This revictimizes the woman or the victim because society begins to see them as damaged, impure, and corrupted. In a way, it begins to feel like the essence of a woman originates from her sexual integrity. And this doesn't mean that I'm trying to downplay the violation that happened, absolutely not. But we all have a range of stories that must be told. That someone had a really clear-cut rape that had a really traumatic impact in their life does not make something else not rape. Men and women are not great verbal communicators when it comes to sex. Both sexes follow a traditional sexual script where men pursue and women are the gatekeepers. It makes it difficult for people to accept rape labels in situations like same-sex rape or women raping men because they have the belief that women are the ones that are meant to be pursued. So how come they rape men? How is it even possible? Shouldn't the man be happy that the woman even gave it to him for free without him having to pursue her and avoiding every stress? This means that boys fail to recognize their sexual victimization, and even if they do acknowledge it, it might mean that they are weak or they are not male. Traditional sexual script is something that creates gray areas in terms of consent, sexual assault, and rape. The idea that women are gatekeepers and men are meant to pursue them has subtle benevolent sexism in it. Men and women who believe that might not accept that a woman should oblige immediately when asked for sex, as it might mean rather that she is loose. So the man has to keep persuading and coercing her in order for her to change her mind. For people who don't follow that traditional sexual script, they end up in situations where they are either insulted for not being man enough because they didn't persuade the woman, or the woman ends up in situations where the man takes it against her will because he doesn't believe that her no means no. For some people, they advocate that we begin to use the word sexual assault and move away from the word rape. They believe that rape tends to put spotlight on the voiceless victim, while sexual assault actually puts spotlight on the actions of the perpetrator. Rape becomes some form of conversation, like how did it happen, with who, what were you wearing, by what time. So they believe that rape has some elements of victim blaming in it, but sexual assault has an element of unprovoked violence. We argue that using the word rape definitely helps shed light on the severity of the issue, but that too can be counterproductive, as I mentioned earlier. For some, they don't see it in that light and might feel compelled to disassociate from that level. There are some things that have been seen to be the major reasons why people personally refuse to acknowledge that they've been assaulted. Next week, I will discuss these themes and also discuss the concept of no means no unless it means not yet. Thank you for watching this week's vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment telling me what you feel about the word rape. Do you think we should move away from the word rape and focus on sexual assault instead? Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. My name is Lolo Cynthia and I will see you next week.